Good afternoon. We're here to talk to you today about memory and adolescence. Before we can jump straight into the topic, we need to understand what is memory and how it works. Niall is here to talk to you about memory.
What is memory? The definition of memory is the ability to store information or experiences and recall these consciously or unconsciously. Memory is stored in the brain in the form of a facilitated neuronal pathway. Memory forms the basis of learning. There are four types of memory: short-term, long-term, episodic, and semantic. In 1974, Alan Baddeley proposed a model of working memory in an attempt to describe an accurate model of short-term memory. The components of this model are the central executive, which is a flexible system for the control and regulation of cognitive processes. Its functions include binding information from a number of sources into coherent episodes, coordination, shifting between tasks, and selective attention. Next is the phonological loop, which deals with sound or phonological information. It consists of two parts: the short-term phonological store with auditory traces that are subject to rapid decay, and an articularly rehearsal component that can revive memory traces. Next is the visual sketchpad, which is assumed to hold information about what we see. It's used for manipulation of spatial and visual information, such as shapes and colours. Next is the episodic memory. This is dedicated to linking information across domains to form integrated units of visual, spatial, and verbal information, with time sequencing, such as remembering of a story or a movie scene.
So now we all know about memory. Now we're going to go to Daniel, who's going to talk about the different types of memory, something Grandpa Simpson doesn't understand.
Like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville, I needed a new heel for my shoe. So I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they call Shelbyville in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel.
Two different types of memory. First type is episodic memory. Episodic memory is the memory that is linked to an event or time of your life. It is a collection of past personal experiences that have occurred at a particular time and place. For example, who knows what year maths was introduced to the Leaving Cert curriculum? Now, if I told you that it was introduced in 2010, the year that Ireland were knocked out of the World Cup by Thierry Henry's famous handball. Now, when you're asked about Project Maths, the first thing that will come to your mind is when Henry knocked us out of the World Cup in 2010, and you'll be able to link it to the year that Project Maths was introduced to the Leaving Cert. Second type of memory is semantic memory. Semantic memory is the memory of doing things that have been drilled into us from the time we are children. It is a memory of facts that have been taught and that we have heard in recurrence. Semantic memory refers to the knowledge that we have learned throughout our lives. An example of semantic memory: we all know there are 7 days in a week and 365 days in a year, that 1 + 1 = 2, etc.
Now we all know there's different types of memory. Things are easier to remember when they have a significance or importance linked to you. At the end of this video, you'll all know when Project Maths is introduced. Now we'll go to Paddy.
As the prefrontal cortex is one of the last connections to develop in the brain, which controls decision making, it causes teenagers to be rash and partake in high-risk behaviour. As teenagers' bodies change, it affects mood and learning at school. These together make teenagers more likely to drink or take drugs, which has major knock-on effects in later life, like affecting the hippocampus, which helps store memory. Studies also show teenagers who do not get enough sleep have problems with depression and also suffer academically. To help students learn, teachers should use different teaching methods to keep them engaged, and because not everyone learns in the same way. Girls engage with more theory-based learning, while boys like to interact and engage with content.
We are now going to show you how peer instruction affects learning by using sawing and woodwork. Ross is a beginner at woodwork, while Paddy has gained experience through years of practice. Ross's technique, grip and stance are not correct. Using peer instruction, Paddy will now show the correct procedure for sawing. Note the way he grips the saw and uses his thumb to guide the saw. He now scores the line to make it easier for sawing. Ross will now manipulate the skills he has seen to help him improve. Paddy instructs Ross that his finger grip is incorrect. This helps him improve his work. He scores the wood as he has just seen. His work has improved using peer instruction.
So we now understand that everyone learns differently and it affects them in different ways. Ross is now going to talk to you about the importance of technical graphics in secondary schools for the development of a child into adolescence.
This PowerPoint explains the benefits of sketching for kids. The benefits are: it helps them to develop their fine motor skills, example, grasping, holding, and hand-eye coordination, which will then allow them to be able to complete tasks such as writing, drawing, and buttoning, which are so important later on in life. It helps to develop their imagination and make them pay attention to details as they study their objects carefully. It allows them to express themselves, especially when they can't express their feeling through words, which can be very frustrating for them. This can also help the parent understand why the child is frustrated. It helps them to learn how to make comparisons between different aspects like shapes, proportions, tones, textures, and sizes. Sketching is especially important nowadays in an age where technology is so prominent. It is much more beneficial for the child to sketch than looking at a computer screen. The Daily Mail done a study to find the similarities between sketching as a child and intelligence later on in life. The grade each child got 10 years on from drawing their sketch is beside each sketch. So as you can see in the drawing here, from left to right, as the drawings get better, so do the grades, which prove a better child is at sketching, the more intelligent they are likely to be later on in life.
Now we understand the importance of sketching and technical graphics for the development of memory in adolescence. On the run!
On behalf of myself and the lads, we'd like to say thanks for watching our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. And we've just one question for you. When was Project Maths introduced to the Leaving Cert?
Over the black